black and Chinese. Come on. Black and yellow, you ever heard the song? Black and yellow, black and yellow, black. Come on. I ain't crazy. Please. What is he on?
I would never co-sign a black man being with anything other than a black woman.
Well, first of all, I think both sides, very similar situations.
Okay.
You may think it's very different, but it's very similar.
You think it's similar?
I think it's similar.
So you think the Chinese American man has a similar struggle to the black American man?
I say similar.
I know you're not going to tell me your Asian family is not racist. I'm sure you know that they hold.
Oh, no, I know.
Okay,
They
so
definitely
how
got
will
some
you deal with that if
stereotypes.
you have mixed race children?
I won't say though.
If you are Asian American, East Asian, or a light-skinned Asian, and you choose to be anti-black, well, I regret to inform you that you are no longer a person of color because you've chosen to be on the wrong side of history.
On behalf of the Boston Police Department, the Mayor's Office, and the entire city of Boston, I want to say to Mr. Swanson and Mr. Bennett, the entire Bennett family, and Boston's entire black community, I am so sorry for what you endured. I am so sorry for the pain that you have carried for so many years. What was done to you was unjust, unfair, racist, and wrong.
Say it again.
To every black resident, I am sorry not only for the abuse our city enacted, but for the beliefs and the bias that brought them to bear in the first place. There is no world in which a piece of paper undoes the harm of this part of our history. But it is my hope, and the hope of our entire administration, that you might accept this letter of apology as a small step toward accountability for the damage done by our city.
What's up guys, welcome and welcome back to Charly React. So in today's video, this one is serious. We are looking at Asian American young people opening up about something that's been hidden for a long time. Let's see them inside their own families toward black people. And listen, this is not about attacking anybody. This is about understanding really conversations and breaking cycles. So if you are ready for some real talk, let's get into it.
Majority of the Asian business community is extremely exploitative and racist towards black people.
Okay, let's address this. My initial reaction to this was one of defensiveness and anger, and I'm sure many of you guys felt the same. But we should not disregard some very valid points that this creator makes. We do have a problem with anti-blackness and colorism within our community. We see that with the discord between ethnic groups within our own community, and that translates out to how some of us treat people with darker skin outside of our community as well. Obviously, it's not all of us because we're not a racial monolith, but I have seen it and I know you have seen it too. I think we tend to tense up when we hear other people calling out our community for racial prejudice. It's natural to feel defensive because the majority of us are not actively trying to hurt other people. But I think we have to understand that as human beings, we all have some sort of racial prejudice towards others. We're born into a racist society. We have had racist stereotypes hammered into us since birth. But we really need to make a good effort to listen, because if we don't listen, we can't be better for our own community and we can't be better allies. I have more to say in part 2.
Boy, I started smiling so big when I saw this woke Asian female spit nothing but heat. I just want to say thank you. She hit the nail right on the head.
For all the racist fucks that keep saying they have black fatigue, I think it's time we set the record straight. You don't have black fatigue, you have history fatigue. You're tired of being reminded that black people didn't just participate in the world, they were a huge part in shaping it. Every race and every culture has benefited from the sacrifices that black people have made. The civil rights movement didn't just open doors for black Americans, it expanded freedoms for everyone. And the shameful part is black people hardly if ever get the credit for it. Black people aren't just in music and sports. You guys need to get out more, okay? Black people are doctors, lawyers, pilots, judges, engineers, educators, innovators, and the list goes on. They hold up systems that people rely on daily while pretending that contribution doesn't exist. And no, this isn't pandering. This is lived experience. I grew up in an all-white neighborhood with very few black people and no other Asians. And at that time, the only culture that accepted me without question was the black culture. So when people talk about a world without black people, they expose how very little they understand about the world they already live in. Without black people, you don't get a world with less noise, you get a world with less creativity, less freedom, less culture, and less progress. If that truth exhausts you, it's not fatigue, it's discomfort with knowing how much you benefit from this world without acknowledging the source.
Happy Black History.
Let's have the conversation that people love to sidestep, because anti-blackness does not just come from white folks, and it for sure did not just appear out of nowhere. And if we're serious about solidarity, we have to trace where it actually started. Now, first thing, this is not about all Asian communities. That's lazy, and I am not lazy. But when we talk about patterns, we're talking about systems. And the system made sure that anti-blackness wasn't just exported, it was globalized. See, when European powers colonized Asia, they didn't just take the land, they also imported hierarchy. They pushed the idea that lighter skin meant civility, wealth, purity, and darker skin was poverty, backwardness, and danger. And that colonial script seeped deep, from India to the Philippines, all the way to Japan. Skin tone became the ladder, and whiteness was always at the top. If we fast forward to Asian immigration in the US, you arrive in a country that's already built on anti-blackness, already criminalizing black life. And what do politicians do? They dangle a deal. If you distance yourself from black people, we'll give you a seat closer to whiteness. And that's where the model minority myth comes in. It was never a compliment, it was always a weapon. The government used it in the 1960s to say, hey, look at these Asian immigrants. They work hard, they follow the rules. Why can't black folks do the same? And that's when it turns survival into separation. And here's the ugly truth. Some communities actually leaned into it, right? Because of your family's safety, your visa, your livelihood depends on being seen as the good immigrant, you'll play the role, even if it means stepping on black people to do it. But don't get it twisted, this was not organic hate. It was policy, it was propaganda, and it worked because it kept us divided while white supremacy stayed in power. So when we talk about Asian anti-blackness today, whether it shows up in colorism, anti-black policing in Asian-owned shops, or even silence around Black Death, we've got to understand that it didn't just fall from the sky. It was planted by colonizers, by governments, by systems that profit when we fight each other and not them. And until we name that history, we are not building solidarity. We're just repeating the cycle. And I, for one, refuse to keep the cycle quiet.
All right, let's pause right there. What they are saying is actually deeper than just hate. This is something that's been passed down, generational thinking, stereotypes, fear, misformation, and honestly, this is just one community. A lot of cultures have these hidden biases that nobody talks about openly. But what makes this powerful is that the younger generation is picking up. That takes courage. Imagine calling out your own family's mindset. That's not easy. Another thing we gotta recognize how media and society play a role, the way people are portrayed, the narrative we grow up seeing. It shapes how families think. But here is the real question. Are we going to keep repeating the same mindset, or are we going to change it? Because at the end of the day, racism isn't just something you are born with. It's something you are taught, and if it's taught, it can be unlearned. Respect to these young voices for being honest. This is how change actually starts.
Please be patient with me because there's so much United States own anti-Asian history, because Asian Americans came in not necessarily knowing about the Chinese Exclusion Act or the internment of Japanese Americans in the United States during World War II. And I think that Asian Americans are used as a buffer between the black community and the white community, because in the 1960s, there was almost a racial reckoning. The white power structure almost had to face accountability for the history of violence against black people. But instead, Asian Americans were inserted and were pit against each other, so that we're always up against each other, and that basically like white supremacy escapes accountability. And the example that I think of that sort of started like the root of a lot of tension is Asian Americans were buying into the negative media stereotypes of black people. And then in the events that led up to what became known as the LA riots, the LAPD kettled protests away from wealthy white neighborhoods and into Koreatown, and then they left. And we know how that played out. So again, the two communities being pitted against each other and away from the white power structure. And obviously the model minority myth is used to oppress the black community. And there's so much here. I will be getting more into it, but I feel like that's the quickest answer that I can give that gets a little bit into the history. And I'm really curious to know what the black community and Asian Americans feel about this. But please be patient with me.
You know, I am officially at my limit with Asian people who keep approaching black brothers and sisters to ask them the most ignorant, racist questions about the color of their skin. Take a look at this sister who addresses a Chinese man, I believe Chinese, in his language as he questions her about the color of her skin.
但是不算黑，不算太黑。
不是，我是黑人，师傅，这个没关系。你可以说我是黑，没关系。
这个黑可以改变，没有，可不可以改变？
不可以改变，黑不可以改变，怎么能改变？我是黑人，我就是这样出生的。
哦，你爸妈也是在北京的。
对，我爸妈两个人也是黑人，黑不可以改变，而且黑不是不好，可能是你们的文化。
对，但她很漂亮啊。
啊？
但她很漂亮啊。
就是我就看她黑的都
就是肤色是人们不能改变的，
对，
是选择的。
是。
对，
但是美这个东西都是很美的呀，对不对？
对，而且你们的文化可能认为可能黑的可以改变，还是黑的不好，但是我们是不一样的。
So as you can hear, she's speaking to him in his language, and he is asking her about the dark complexion that she has, and he's like, can't you change that? And she's like, no, I can't change it. This is the color of my skin. I was born this way. Then he says to her, oh, your parents are black too? And she's like, yes, my parents are black too. And he's like, but you can change it though. And she's like, no, I can't change it. This is how I was born. And then she went on to tell him, maybe in your culture, it's not a good thing, but in my culture, it's fine. This is my complexion. Like he just seemed so perplexed. Like, why can't you change it? Why can't you change it? You're dark. And then finally, the other Asian woman, you hear her, and she's saying she's beautiful the way she is. That's her complexion, and she can't change it. And he's like, but I'm talking about her black skin. And then this woman is saying, but she's pretty. Meaning, she's dark complexion, but she is pretty. So, leave her alone. She's a pretty woman regardless of her complexion. At least she was trying to show this man some reason. But what I don't understand is why we as black people are in these countries when we see it countless times that they are just looking at us like we are some kind of zoo animal, particularly when we are of a darker complexion. I do see them behaving this way with lighter complexion people, but there seems to be more of a fascination when it's somebody of a darker complexion. They want to touch you. They're looking at you like, oh my gosh, like you are just from another planet. And it's so infuriating to me that we will continue, well, not me, but black people will continue to go to these countries. And this is going to happen. And then on top of that, you're so patient with these people. I would just give them 1, 2 words and keep it pushing. Okay, I wouldn't even give them the benefit of speaking in their language to them. I would speak in my language. And trust me, the way I respond, you will get a sense of what I'm saying without even understanding the language I'm speaking. And this sister is right when she said to them, maybe in your culture it's not a bad thing, and maybe in your culture you can change the skin tone, because they do that, right? They are known to start using skin brighteners and skin lighteners on their babies when they're born dark, and their children, etc., because in their culture, if you are of a dark complexion, it's not a good thing. So that's fine. Y'all do what you want to do, but leave us alone. We're good. And this sister is stunning just the way she is. And just get out of these countries. Go to Africa. Go to countries that are, dominated by our people, where you just blend in and don't look any different. We all look the same. Nobody's going to be looking at you like you're some kind of zoo animal and petting you in your hair and asking you these most ridiculous, ignorant, anti-Black questions. Don't subject yourself to it. And I'll also say to our community, because we do know there are a subset of Black women who do bleach their skin, I appeal to you to stop doing that. Not only for health reasons, but you're beautiful the way you are with the complexion that you are. And don't allow people like this, ignorant people like this, or the folks or anybody else, insult you about the color of your skin or treat you differently over the color of your skin, which then puts you down this rabbit hole of not feeling good or having self-esteem issues that result in you bleaching your skin. Please accept your beautiful dark complexion. Let me know what you all think about this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this content. Also, don't forget to download the African Diaspora News app. You can grab it at your Google or Apple store, or head over to africandiasporanews.com and you can grab it there. Make sure you download that app. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Black Experience with Emma Ansa. Until next time, please be safe, everyone.
This is one of those conversations we need to have more often. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about this? Have you seen similar situations in your own community? Please drop your thought in the comment, and let's keep it respectfully, but really 100%. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, share, comment, and join the Charly family. Bye bye. See you.